Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really pleased to have you guys here today to join us for another great beehiiv webinar virtual event. We're talking today with Andy Austin on how to create high converting newsletter landing pages. I know for a fact that this is something that so many people are not going to want to miss and are going to be just watching this on repeat because it's one of the questions that we get most often. It's one of the topics that just keeps coming up and up. And everybody talks about landing pages. Everybody says it's part of the strategy. You need to basically be publishing content, social media content, whatever, pushing people to your landing page. But what we don't necessarily always talk about as much or go super deep in is how you actually create that high conversion landing page. And so we're really fortunate today to have Andy Austin here to cover that. Andy is an agency owner and newsletter agency owner, helps newsletters run ads and create high performance landing pages. He also is a newsletter publisher himself, very experienced with beehiiv, and is a master sensei of all of these different things. So we're super fortunate to have him today, an hour of his time to go through all of these different tactics. If you've joined us before for these kind of guest collaboration webinars, you'll know that for the most part, I'm going to let him run the show once I hand it off. And if I hear something interesting or can provide some context that might be helpful, I may jump in. But today, fortunately, you don't have to listen to my voice for an hour. You get to listen to Andy. But with that, I'm going to hand it off to Andy. Thank you so much for not having us, but for being here with us. And look forward to the absolute education we're about to receive.
Thanks, CJ. Really great intro. So yeah, guys, super excited to do this for you. And really appreciate you all joining. Today, we're going to be talking about high converting landing pages for newsletters. EJ already introduced me, but I'll just give you a few kind of things about myself. So why you should listen to me. So I've been doing performance marketing for the last 6 years. I've spent over $10 million on Facebook ads profitably, primarily for consumer brands, including newsletters. So I've done so many different things when it comes to Facebook ads, e-com apps and info products, all of these things. And I and my team, we've added over 500,000 subscribers for multiple newsletters profitably as well. So by the end of today's presentation, you're going to be able to create a high converting landing page for your newsletter that gets you quality subscribers and you actually don't lose out on people that came to your landing page and didn't subscribe. So all of them will be able to subscribe. And you'll be able to avoid costly mistakes and save thousands of dollars and months of time by doing what actually works. We're gonna be talking about 3 things today. The first thing, we're gonna be talking about how to actually create a landing page, a perfect landing page creation process. And I'll share all the tips, all the insight, and the most important pieces for that. The second thing, we're gonna cover about 17 landing page mistakes to avoid. There's a lot. Yeah, we're gonna break them down. We're gonna share examples. And the last thing, we're gonna do a Q&A, and we're gonna do something really cool, which is landing page roast giveaway. So stay around until the end of the presentation because only people that stay around until the end will be able to participate. All right, let me make sure I have the chat here as well. All right, guys, yeah, thanks for the comments and excited to do this for you. All right, so the first thing is how do we create and iterate on the landing page, right? The first step is to do some research. And then the second thing is to get the data from the research and you want to ideate, create some test ideas, and then you want to put those ideas into test. And then you get the data, you measure everything, you evaluate, and you implement the things that work and don't do things that don't work, and you do it all over again. So research, ideate, test, and measure and evaluate and implement. So one of the foundational steps of doing research is actually understanding your audience. Like you have to understand your audience better than they understand themselves. Because if you're able to do that, you're able to really market to them well. And it's not just landing pages, it's ads, it's your actual newsletter. When you even, let's say you sell products in a newsletter, you have to understand them so well that they're like, wow, I really know, like this guy gets me. Like, this is actually my problem. This is what I want. This is me. Yes, I want to subscribe. I want to buy, please. You don't want them to beg you to get the thing from you. So here are the 3 things you basically need to know about them. How they identify themselves. So other founder, other parent, agency owner, whatever. And also what's their dream state, what's their dream identity. So maybe they're a successful founder or like parent that the kids love. So successful agency owner. And desired outcome, what's the thing that they actually want. And the problems, right? So the problems they want to solve and roadblocks preventing them from achieving those desired outcomes. Because yes, Julia, the recording will be shared. Yeah. So basically, there's also like newsletter is a value mechanism, right? So newsletter solves their problem. There's probably some other ways they can solve the same problem, but you might want to explain why your newsletter is better. It might not necessarily be on a landing page, but overall, I think it's good to tell them like, hey, here's like, we're going to be doing this for you. You could be doing this and this, but we're going to be, saving you more time because it's maybe curation or something like that. Cool. So how do you actually do research? When it comes to doing research, here's what we do. So let's say a new client comes on board and we start a new newsletter. We really want to know about the audience, what content resonates with them. So what we do is we go on Twitter, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, LinkedIn. We find all the content that has the most engagement, and we want to look at also, they're going to read through the comments, but you really want to just have that data dump of all the content that your audience, your target audience consumes, and that content that also went viral, get a lot of views, get a lot of comments, get a lot of engagement. And you can learn a ton from that, like insane amounts of that. Because sometimes you would even take like best pieces of content, just turn them into ads, and that's it. Just reuse them.
Do you ever recommend using, this may be coming up, so if it is, you can tell me not to spoil things. Most of these platforms have ad platforms that will actually show you the libraries of anybody running ads on them. So Meta has an ads library, LinkedIn does as well. I don't know about TikTok, but basically, and there's tools where you can aggregate these all through things like Altria, or Atria. Altria, I think, is like the tobacco company. But anyway, you can basically do some of this research by looking at the ads that are being run. And we find specifically, like in our business, like if we look at what MailChimp or Squarespace are running, these are big multi-billion-dollar companies. Like, they don't run creative that's not successful. Like, they have agencies and they have performance teams that are able to run the very large-scale tests, so they can basically see what works very quickly. And is that something that you would recommend doing as well? Obviously, you can just check on their public channels, but a lot of times they're like, I hate the term like dark post, but it's literally just an ad. It's just like something that they haven't posted on their public channels.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. So it's one of the things you want to do. You want to check out on your competitors, the ads they're running, the landing page they're running. And what we do is we look at the ads that maybe been live for like over 4 weeks or over 3 weeks. And you obviously have to use your judgment, but this is part of a research. You want to just get some ideas and test them for yourself. So that's a very good point. Thank you, EJ. Yeah, 100% I would recommend. And TikTok does have their own library. Yes, I think LinkedIn does. Yeah, I don't know about X though. Yeah, 100%. That's a great idea. Big companies, by the way, like big companies, a lot of times they might be bloated because they move fast, they move slow. Plus, they have like really good unit economics, and they can afford to lose money for a long time. So if you're a small company, you're trying to copy a big company, like you might not be able to compete if you use the same ads or the same landing pages, because they really care about branding a lot. It's not a lot of the direct response principles. Some of them do use so.
Some of them do. Yeah, but it's important. Yeah, it's important to use your judgment to know, okay, is this something that's, if, for example, very high design, a lot of their stuff are like videos that are like really nicely done, or specifically they have a series where like they interview or have like artists who are on their platform talk about not even the platform, not even Squarespace. They just talk about the project that they've been building. And the implication is like, hey, this artist is building this cool thing, and then maybe the last frame is built on Squarespace. And so it's very much a branding play in order to like associate the brand with these tastemakers and artists. And so if you're just trying to go straight performance, definitely don't copy that, because that's the type of thing where mass market, it's a very much a traditional brand type of ad. But there are companies like beehiiv, we run a lot of direct response. I like to think we do it pretty well. We do a lot of testing. ClickFunnels,
how many
a lot of
these. You
these
guys launching per week? Do you know how many ad creatives you're launching? Or
I know more specific. Like, I have a guy now that runs all that. About a year ago, I could have told you because I was running all of it. But these days, I basically abstract that. I have a guy who runs all of those. But this week, we launched 3 additional lead magnets. We have probably 2 or 3 dozen that we're testing in rotation to figure out, in terms of literally these are just downloadable assets. Every webinar that we run is an ad to get attendance. Every webinar, once it's finished, becomes a recording, and we run ads basically to those landing page. We have a landing page that says, hey, get the recording. So we run all of those as ads. We've run like 40 something webinars. So every time we run a webinar, if you're in the audience, and maybe you saw an ad or you signed up for the first time.
Yeah, I've seen those. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
We're just continuously expanding that pie and doubling down, of course, on the things that work. But definitely
Yeah. Do
use
you
the
guys
judgment
doing
to
a
understand.
lot of testing? You guys you do a lot of
It's key.
testing.
You got to do testing. You never will ever find the best performing variant and ad on your very first try. And if you ever manage to do, it'll be the exception that proves the rule. And don't expect it to be like that every time. But yeah, test.
Certainly doing the research and just not reinventing the wheel, taking the best performing content, maybe ads. We've had actually a lot of luck with that, or a lot of just success with that. And that will just pretty much, like, sometimes we launch a campaign, like very new newsletter or new client, and it just works right off the bat. And newsletters, I think it's a bit different than, let's say, SaaS or when you sell something, but like just actually doing the research and seeing what works out there
But specifically for the folks in the audience today, if you're thinking about going into these libraries, The Hustle, Morning Brew, these are two that I know run ads because I've seen them in like the ads libraries. 1440, TLDR, Console, these are all ones that I've seen ads for on LinkedIn and on Meta Properties as well as Reddit. Pretty much any big newsletter that you might have heard of that's like big, millions of folks, they're getting to that size by running ads. I know Runway and Neuron, both new beehiiv newsletters, Milk Road, all run ads. All of these can be found within the ad libraries, and these are going to be ones where there's pretty much nobody in this space for newsletters that is running like non-direct response. I don't know. Again, exceptions prove the rule, but like pretty much anybody who's a newsletter operator is like, how the hell can I get my cost per lead as low as possible with the best ad possible? Nobody's just saying, hey, we're going to put out this video to get,
I have a Google spreadsheet with 1,000 newsletters at least, and I see all the ads they run, or if they're not run, and we track all of that. And there's some big newsletters that do a lot, like they do some of the stuff that we would never do, and maybe they know something we don't, but it's like they would run ads to a landing page where it's just an article and that's it. And maybe there's some pop-up, but I don't imagine that might be working. It might be like just a test that they're doing right now, but big newsletters, they do a lot of experimentation, and sometimes it's not good to copy them. But the ones that you mentioned are good, EJ. 100%,
Yeah, I'm dropping in the chat, not to steal your thunder, Andy, of course. We have this resource. This is one of our lead magnets. If you did register for the newsletter or for this webinar, we will, if you already registered, we will automatically recognize that you already registered. You're not going to, you won't have to refill out a form or anything like that. But one of our folks who some of you may know, Nathan May in the space, he put together that like top newsletter ads of 2024. So you can swipe that guide. So anyway, sorry to cut you off or to break it, but
all good.
Wanted to add that.
So essentially, if you want to do research and check the best performing content, maybe some popular forums like Reddit, Quora, do the one thing we just talked about for 5 minutes, like competitor analysis, right? Their ads, their landing pages, use Facebook ad library, use LinkedIn ad library, TikTok. And then you want to survey your subscribers. So you can have a survey on the way in. So when they subscribe, you can ask them whatever you want. You obviously want to think about have intention for every question you ask, because it just adds up. But yeah, that's super helpful, especially for your advertisers as well. I'll share you a landing page and I'll ask you guys a question. Make sure you write it in the comments. This landing page converts at 65-70%. This is just a newsletter we recently launched. So what do you think makes it convert at 65-70%? EJ, what do you think?
It's funny. We always ask. I've done that before. I ask the questions, and it's just wait. Now people have to jump into the chat. Yeah. I'd say it's super simple and very to the point. There's no distraction on the page. The user has basically one choice. They either are going to subscribe or they're not. There's really no kind of other choice to make. You're really deloading the mental cognitive load, or reducing the amount of cognitive load that a user has to make. If they're on a very small screen like a phone, where most people will be, it's going to be very front and center, very focused, very simple. Subscribe, don't subscribe.
So what are the 4 massive conversion rate movers? So all the things you said, 100%, but really a lot of times it's not just newsletter landing pages. A lot of times it's like any landing page, right? So what's the desired outcome? What outcome your newsletter provides to them? So you want to have that on your landing page, like screaming, and not just landing page, ads, maybe your welcome email, and then you actually deliver with your content, that outcome. And then effort minimization, I feel like a lot of times is more for info products, but sometimes it's good to include, let's say it only takes 4 minutes or 1 minute, and it's, wow, I get this outcome in 1 minute. Sure, that's great. And I'll share you guys some landing page examples and templates so you can just copy them. swipe them. And then, like you said, EJ, how easy it is to consume the landing page content, right? So how simple it is and how easy it is to actually take that action to subscribe. And relevancy, right? So it could be like you want to have your landing page speak to them, right? Everybody has some sort of way they perceive themselves. I belong, let's say founder or parent, or let's say I live in San Francisco, I'm a mom, I'm a woman, whatever. When you land on a landing page, it should speak to your identity, how you identify yourself. So for beehiiv, it could be like successful newsletter operator or creator. Cool. So a desired outcome is about second order consequences. So let's say we subscribe to a newsletter about AI. The first consequence of that is we get smarter on AI. Awesome. So smart. Now what do I actually get from that? So you might not get fired, or you might get promoted because you're so smart on AI. You also might automate your life because it's awesome. AI is doing work for you. Great. More energy to do whatever you want. Chill. You have more free time because you actually automated your life. So maybe that's a consequence of that. And then you can be the smartest person in the room, which can be like a consequence before not getting fired or being promoted. And that's really cool. You should definitely test these in your ads, in your content, and whatever works best, put it on your newsletter landing page. So let's say get smarter on AI to automate your life, something like that. So you can have more free time, you get promoted, so you be the smartest person in the room. Now, these things can be also a little bit dangerous because everybody, like people might want to get smarter on AI, but there's segments, right? So some people want to get promoted. Some people want to get free time. Some people want to be like, just feel the smartest, feel the best. So it might be really good at the small scale, like when you specifically target these people, but at the scale, as you scale up, like it might not resonate necessarily to everybody who lands on your landing page. So the solution to this is to have multiple landing pages. And those landing pages should tie to those campaigns or marketing campaigns where people come. Let's say you advertise, hey, this is great, don't get fired. Like AI is gonna take your job. Subscribe to this newsletter or else you get fired or something like that. And then so a good rule of thumb would be to actually have a landing page tied to that. It has like super high, it's consistent with the ad. It's consistent with what they've seen before. But sometimes you just want to take whatever works in the beginning and then just roll with it. All right, so now guys, we're gonna skip all the hard work. You don't have to do any research. We don't have to do anything. You just jump straight to the good part. So I'm gonna give you 3 proven newsletter landing page copy templates that you can copy paste right now for your newsletter today and have high conversion landing page. Here's one. So it's a museum newsletter. Subscribe. It's an awesome newsletter about productivity. And the landing page reads as, you're about to become 10x more productive. Get the best productivity hacks from top CEOs so you can accomplish more before lunch. And it's very simple. You can just type in your email and join free. That's it. Yeah, you're about to become, or you're about to get something. It's, wow, I'm about to get something right now. Let's go. But this is about their desired state, maybe potential identity. But a lot of it is about what the outcome they're going to get. And it also explains the mechanism of that outcome, the vehicle. Productivity hacks from top CEOs. All right, the second one is from Rundown. I really like this landing page. So newsletter readers, they're all hungry for information. And they all want to learn things, constantly learn. I'm type of the person that reads newsletters, like reads books. So I want to learn things. And I really like this copy. It's to learn AI in 5 minutes a day. So what I'm going to learn and how long it's going to take me. What's the effort required to get this outcome? Yeah, sometimes it excludes people. Like landing pages in general are about to not excluding people at scale, especially. So some people want to learn. Some people just want to actually like just get the outcome, and that's it. Most people just want to get the outcomes. So learn might not work really well, but I really like the outline and the fact that they have 900,000 readers. They might have split tested this a lot. Yeah. So get the latest AI news, understand why it matters, and learn how to apply it in your work. Join 900,000 readers from companies like Apple, OpenAI, NASA. So it's good to throw in some famous companies, but also 900,000 readers just gives a lot of social proof to people like, wow, it's great. I want to be reading the things that people at OpenAI, NASA, Apple are reading. And very simple email intake form. So join for free. All right. Next one is, I really love this one. I'm definitely subscribing to this newsletter. It's Then Go newsletter. And the headline reads as, build your body and increase performance in 4 minutes for free. I really want to, 4 minutes, I want to build my body in 4 minutes. Let's go, for free. Get the six pack, get the six packs in 4 minutes, 4 minutes per day or something like that. That's great. It's about effort required, and also it's free. So it's super valuable, and it's about what they want. So it's really cool, very simple. Yeah, so get the tangible benefit in X minutes for free. That's the template. Now I want to talk about call to action. So if you look at these call to actions, they're all really similar, really simple. And what we've noticed is join free, or free is a super powerful word. So you want to, if it's the newsletter is free, you might want to use it. To join free is like works better than other call to action buttons. Now, we only tested it on a few newsletters, so you might want to split test it again. I would just roll with join free initially, and then you can split test it. Like, way more important is the desired outcome that you put on your landing page, the headline, right? You want to have your button to have a contrast with the background. So here the background is white. The best color to contrast with it is black. Maybe, I mean, there's a lot of colors actually. White is great. But yeah, it's pretty important. You don't want to like have people miss the button. Help people find the button, okay? And then I really like this a thin border around the email input field. It just helps people to find the field, put their email in, and subscribe. So yeah, and then mobile first design, like 95% or 97% of people that visit your landing page, they're going to be visiting from their mobile phones. So make sure it looks really good on mobile. Make sure just test it on different devices. And yeah, like it's a no-brainer. Like just make it good look on mobile. Forget about desktop, really. And if you have seniors, just use bigger font. In ads, in your landing page, newsletter, just use bigger font. Like seniors have hard time reading things. Yeah. And then you obviously want to test and iterate. So you have all these templates, what's important to put in a landing page. Now it's time to put it into practice and do some testing, do some iteration. So you want to test for the big levers, right? So desired outcomes, the way you present the desired outcome in copy, and maybe call to actions as well. And maybe like lead magnets as well. So having a landing page that is tied to your lead magnet. And so to do A/B testing, we use Go High Level and A10. So it's an automation that sends subscribers from a Go High Level form to beehiiv. And make sure you subscribe to a YouTube channel, Andy Austin. Very simple. And because I'll share a video how to do this all. And I think beehiiv should have a feature to do A/B testing. EJ?
Yes, so we have A/B testing for subject lines. Right now, we don't have subject like copy within the newsletters, but you could there's two things with the new website builder. You can build multiple landing pages, so you could have just like two. There's also tools out there. I think they shut down Google Optimize, but there's other tools out there that you could use to basically run actual A/B tests on web pages, and you can do that with your current beehiiv site today.
Really, you can do that with beehiiv? It works?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, because I know beehiiv is sometimes, it can be closed off a little bit. But yeah, so that's awesome. You can find the tool, but A/B testing is awesome. If you don't want to invest in tools, something you could do is to just run something for, let's say, 2 weeks, one variant, without changing anything. You just change the landing page copy, run it for 2 weeks, and then just run another test for 2 weeks and see how it affected things. Yeah, it's really like dirty way because there's seasonality and all these things. And then make sure you install Microsoft Clarity. It's going to help you to monitor user behavior, especially if you have a longer landing page. For newsletter, it's pretty simple. But if you see people like trying to click on your logo or something like that, maybe it's not a good idea to have that logo. And record all these changes in the spreadsheet. I'll share just a very simple version of a spreadsheet what we use. And make sure you measure things. So you measure open rates, click-through rates, and cost per subscriber. Measure conversion rate, right? Newsletter conversion rate. So that's how many people subscribed divided by what we do in meta ads, how many people subscribe, and divided by unique outbound link clicks or unique link clicks. So yeah, you can just have a really very simple spreadsheet like this: variant A, variant B, winner conversion rate, date of the test ended, and any notes. Now, this is a very quick tip. When you're running ads, what we found, or when I was running ads for my newsletter, for the marketing newsletter, at some point I was trying to optimize the newsletter landing page. And so I was running out of ideas what to test. And so what I found a really good way to optimize your landing page is to just take whatever your best performing ad and just take, let's say, a hook or like the main kind of theme of that ad, maybe the same exact hook, the same exact ad copy, subject line or headline, and just put it in on your newsletter. And that can significantly increase your conversion rate. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about 17 mistakes to avoid when it comes to creating newsletter landing pages. There are three things, right? There's design mistakes, copy mistakes, and strategic mistakes. So design mistakes are, like, I see this a lot. This is just, I don't love this, honestly. I think this can impact conversion rate significantly, and we've seen it impacting conversion rate. But when you're forcing people to scroll down, spend a lot of time on your newsletter landing page, like, you might lose them because they get distracted, right? Like, somebody's, I don't know, on the bus, on train, whatever, gets a call, like at work, they might see an ad, and like, you want them to subscribe as soon as possible, really. And so when you force them to scroll, or when you force them to add multiple things, like, it just can be really detrimental to your conversion rate. So I really love the TLDR. It's just like about default, no scroll design. You can put your email address and subscribe for free. The second one is asking for too much. Like, just don't ask for a lot of info. On the first page, even if you have a bunch of things after the first landing page, just ask for one thing. Make them commit to that action, and ask for one thing. So there's too many moving pieces. So I've seen newsletter landing pages where they have animation or all these crazy things. Like, I would not use them. Pop-ups, you can put the pop-ups after they subscribe. Yeah, just get them to subscribe first, and then you can do whatever you want. All right. Now it's a design mistake, right? So if you try to add a lot of content without space, like, it just can be really overwhelming. So make sure your design is actually breathable. There's space between elements, and enough space between elements. And beehiiv, I think, does a pretty good job, because you don't have to care about that. It's already spaced out. So a lot of colors, right? Classic design mistake. You just want to have 2 to 4 colors. If you look at this landing page, it has black, white, and yellow, and that's it. And so, neglecting mobile design. Like, you don't want your newsletter landing page look like this. You want it very clean and simple. And you don't want somebody who lands on your landing page think of, I can read shit. Like, you want them to try really hard to read your small font, whatever you wrote there. And you don't want to have a lot of text, because it can be really overwhelming when you have, let's say, even four sentences or 3 sentences crammed together. So a good rule of thumb is I think 2 lines of text, maybe 3 lines of text max. So you don't have, I think this is fine, but like, really a lot of text can be not good, because like, people, like, brain is, oh my god, it's too much effort, I don't want to read this. And it's funny is I found this newsletter about design, and I think they pretty terribly at the contrasting, because it's like really light. Like, I can't read this is just for design, this is just to be there. I don't think they care about people reading this. So make sure if there's something you want people to read, there's enough contrast. Okay, copy mistakes. So a lot of newsletters do this. A lot of companies do this. Is like, we're so awesome. It's all about me. We're the industry. We're the best AI newsletter in the world. But people that land on your landing page, they don't care about you so much. They care about you a little bit, because you want to have some credibility. But first, they care about what they're gonna get out of you. So like, when you look for a surgeon, you're looking to get some surgical procedure done, and then you're like, okay, I want to look at your credentials. So make sure you actually talk about them first, and then you can talk about yourself a little bit. Like, hey, I'll save you 15 hours a week, and by the way, we people from OpenAI read us. They're very small things. The devil is in the details, so tiny things matter. And one thing is and it not just when it comes to newsletter and landing page copy, when it comes to ads, when it comes to any direct response copy, you want to use, you want to talk about them, and you want them feel like you're talking to a friend at the bar, maybe, or just having conversation with them. Whenever you have something that they're gonna get, you want to personalize it. You don't want to just say this newsletter is about Facebook ads, but you want to say you'll get this benefit from reading this newsletter. You'll 3x your Facebook ads performance. So personalize the outcome, personalize the benefit, the positives. Don't just be generic. And then the other one is bait and switch. Well, sometimes it can work. And I see a lot of marketers use bait and switch pretty successfully. But if you're thinking you're booking like a 5-star hotel, and in reality it's not good, like you're not satisfied, you unsubscribe right away, right? So make sure whatever brings them to the landing page is actually consistent with, so your landing page is consistent with the ad or a piece of content that brings them to the landing page. So for example, with beehiiv, you guys do lead magnets. So if you run an ad, it's a lead magnet ad, it's better to have that consistency and have a landing page saying about lead magnet as well. And obviously relevancy is super important. So whenever you have a newsletter that is talking to a specific customer persona, you want to mention them in your landing page, in your ads, so it's consistent with it's like they land on the landing page and they think, okay, this is for me. Because people land on a landing page, they think about themselves is this for me? And what am I gonna get out of this? Or like, what am I gonna get out of this? And is this for me? So you want them to think yes, or you want to get the reaction as yes, this is great, this is for me, and I feel like you really understand my problem. I feel like this is for me, this is who I want to become, and I want to subscribe to this newsletter, see what's in there. Location, right? If this is a local newsletter, it would be a sin to not put the location name, the city name on your landing page or on your ads. And then whatever industry is in there, you want, if it's a marketing newsletter, you want to put that it's a marketing newsletter or that specific industry, right? Okay, strategic mistakes. So some people send people to the homepage instead of the subscribe page. And whenever you send people to homepage, they'll just read your newsletter and not necessarily subscribe. So you want to send them to the squeeze page, so they have to put their email first to get something. All right, so the other mistake is, so yeah, that's a big one. And whenever you run a business, you want to think about what is the key, like maybe what is the set of key metrics we want to focus on? Because sometimes it's better to have lower conversion rate, or sometimes it's better to have higher cost per subscriber, because that might lead to better lead quality, better subscriber quality, better unit economics overall, and better customer lifetime value. So a lot of time when it comes to business, it's about unit economics. It's about making the numbers work. So if you you might want to actually exclude people on your landing page if they're never going to buy from you. And same for ads, right? Like a big mistake a lot of newsletters do, and we've done that as well, is to run kind of newsletter. So lower in this industry, a lot of people talk about lowering the CPA, lowering the cost per subscriber. So you can actually damage yourself pretty well if you just get the wrong people in. If let's say people wanna, if you advertise, hey, you're gonna get rich, people, like everybody wants to get rich, or like most people, a lot of people, but they're not necessarily gonna be qualified to buy the thing that you're advertising. Yeah, just measure the things that matter and don't focus on the conversion rate or cost per subscriber in isolation. So also measure the impact on your overall business. Super, super important. Cool. Yeah, another one is, again, not doing the competitor research. I think we've spent a lot of time on this. Make sure you don't reinvent the wheel, you don't guess, and sometimes guessing is good, right? Because you have so much data and you can just come up with ideas yourself. But a lot of times people reinvent the wheel. And yeah, not testing. You wanna test things. You wanna constantly run tests and iterate and make things better, improve things. And a lot of people don't do this. But the thing is, you have to have some data. If you don't have any people coming in, like it doesn't make sense. Yeah. All right. So that's pretty much it. We can start the Q&A session. And okay, so yes. So I feel like there's questions here, right? Okay. So do you have any suggestions for young newsletters with a smaller subscriber list to convey social proof? Young newsletter. Yeah. I mean, like social proof is overrated a lot of times. Like we've tested it and it doesn't really move the needle too much to add social proof. And sometimes you can even damage yourself because like you'd have more things on the landing page and it might not be relevant to them. So if you're a young newsletter, I don't know if that's something you should focus on. You should focus on the things that actually move the needle for you, the things that you need right now, probably growing the list with the right people. Think about monetization. So that's that. And then yeah.
I'd also jump in and say I totally agree with what your first. It might actually sound surprising to completely agree with that, but we've done some testing with our own newsletter, which is called Creator Spotlight. We did a test specifically to see whether did an A/B test to see whether including like a testimonial section below the main part increased conversion rate, and of course it didn't, because it's logical if you have just the above the fold area and the option is to either subscribe or not subscribe, and then you add testimonials below the fold and somebody scrolls down, you're adding an action and you're just naturally going to have fewer people take that next step. Now, I don't know, maybe the people who then saw the social proof would maybe better subscribers. I have no evidence of that, but I think specifically because collecting an email address is such a low ask, social proof compared to how it can be used in other forms of marketing isn't necessarily going to be a silver bullet. I'd say where we actually did see a huge amount of lift was specifically using some of that social proof within the actual like description. So right here it says like join to get your newsletter roasted. That text, when we used like the description to say, basically to describe not the social proof of who is reading it, but who we were writing about, which is like basically stories of creators who built audiences from 10,000 to 100,000. So like basically, again, not classic social proof of here's who's receiving my newsletter, but like this is who we're covering. Being very specific with that was like the best performing description there. I would say definitely test. I think it also comes down to your audience with newsletters. Like literally there is no one size fits all advice. One audience, if you're like a very niche, like we have a bunch of newsletters in the space industry, it's a very narrow, very small niche industry. But like the newsletters that run on beehiiv are like literally like the biggest names in that area. Like everyone in the industry knows who they are, like Payload and a couple other ones. And so if they say on their newsletter, if like they say on their landing page or somewhere in their advertising or whatever, read by the top people at like SpaceX, Blue Origin, and NASA, like within a small community, it's conceivable that social proof really works well versus a mass market thing where it's if you're trying to target, if you're in the crypto space and it's just like, it's such a wide open area, the social proof might not go as far. And so yeah, just like a couple of my own thoughts there.
100%. So. Yes, and the thing you mentioned about if you're talking about some people, it's like if you have a celebrity like Arnold Schwarzenegger uses beehiiv, if you have some sort of big people that everybody knows, or maybe authorities in the industry, and you can steal their trust, steal that authority, or because people trust them, they know who they are, and it's just like incredible credibility boost, and it's wow, like I'm gonna get this. It's just so powerful. If you can get a video of Arnold Schwarzenegger saying the best newsletter platform is beehiiv, we use beehiiv. Like, and just run it as
that would be the greatest thing. Yeah. So to what you're saying, that's exactly the point. It's not all social proof is like created equal. Exactly. It comes down to the quality of the social proof. It's I could get my brother, who has a different last name as me, to say whatever I want. He could say it's the best thing ever. And if I use it on a landing page saying like, Ben T said this is the greatest thing ever, it might be great proof, but nobody knows. Unfortunately, sorry if you're seeing this, Ben, nobody knows who he is. So it's just like so nobody's necessarily it's not going to carry weight. But if Bill Gates is like, or if Obama is like, this is like the best breakdown of politics I've ever seen in a newsletter, like you can guarantee that's going to have some cachet.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's funny. There's this cereal brand, and some of the ads they would do is Ronaldo loves our cereal, or like Michael Jordan loves our cereal, and then the always read the fine print, right? Always, marketers like they get you.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, picture of just some guy.
It's like a guy from like a small town in Texas.
It's a genius campaign.
It's a genius campaign, exactly. Yeah, but not all social proof created equal. And if you don't have a good social proof, it's better not to have any, especially with newsletters. Yeah, you're not buying anything. You're just asking for their email, which is easy to unsubscribe. Cool. All right. The next question is, where is this? Fear of missing out, exclusive. Yeah, fear of missing out is pretty, I think it's, if you can leverage that in your newsletter, landing page, or just overall, that would be pretty powerful. I haven't seen many newsletters trying to use that, but yeah, maybe that's something to explore and test. Like,
I see a question here asking about the ideal length of a newsletter. I don't know if that got an answer quite yet, but I can just jump in and say, again, there's really no one size fits all. I think one of the things that Andy did really well here is at the beginning, all of my webinars that I run, I talk about the foundational steps of the kind of things you need to have in order before you can really apply any device we're going to talk about, and we call it the laying the groundwork part. And we cover that really nicely, talking about really understanding and knowing your audience. And that's really what it comes down to. He had a nice, great graphic that I actually might steal, if it's okay with him, for my presentations that kind of show that hierarchy of what you need to understand. And the better you can understand your audience, the better, more success you're going to have, because every decision you make around your newsletter is going to come from that, including the length of the article. So what I mean by that is based on your audience, what is your content going to be? What is your niche? If you're targeting quantitative finance professionals, very niche audience. If you're a very technical person and you have a lot of expertise and you're writing to impart information, it's if you're instructing these very smart people on something, you might have a very long newsletter that's going into a lot of detail. On the other hand, if you're just doing like news or something more ephemeral, these people are very busy and you might want it to be super, super short. And my answer would be there is no ideal length. Really, 100% depends on what is your niche and what is your audience. Of course, if you get too long, email inboxes will clip you. We have clipping warnings built into the platform, so you be wary of clipping and making sure that you will have fewer people open and read everything if it does get clipped. So there is an upper limit, but you really need to understand who that is that your audience is and what is going through their day. I think in my last webinar on Tuesday, talked about this example of a suburban housewife where super busy moving throughout her day, dropping the kids off at work, running errands, doing chores or whatnot. Perhaps if this is something that's like a moment of respite from these daily chores, she might want something that's like super quick and fits in with her day, where it's just like something quick. But at the same time, maybe it's something, if it's like more comical and takes her away from that daily grind, you might want something longer that's going to be a little bit more of an escape that she looks forward to. But that's, if you put yourself in the mindset of, okay, I'm targeting these suburban housewives who have 2 kids and a dog and a husband and like all these things, you can say, okay, cool, this is going to have to fit in after 9:30, once the kids are all at school, before kind of they're entering the next stage of the day. Let's test to see if we get better engagement, because even though the kids going to school has nothing necessarily to do with your content, it really can give you some insights into how they're going through their day, the problems they're facing. Of course, not even to mention all of those things we talked about today of like how you're going to talk to them, the humor you're going to use, the language you're going to use, the topics you're going to talk about. All of these things are incredibly important, and they all stem from knowing your audience.
Yeah. One thing you could do is definitely being that audience, target audience helps. Like being your customer, like definitely helps. And you can always survey them on the way in. What kind of surveys are tricky. Sometimes it can mislead you. So always look at the actual reaction to the change. But yeah, we can also have, or you should definitely have some sort of unsubscribe survey. Why did you unsubscribe a newsletter? And you can put something, was the content too long or something like that? Too much content. Don't have time to read. So that can be a signal of make it shorter or whatever. But yeah, like surveys can be also misleading. But yeah, let's see. So there's bounce rate question. Oh yeah, like, I'm assuming you mean the newsletter landing page bounce rate. Like it has to be consistent with the place they came from. So what did they see before visiting your newsletter landing page? So if it's not consistent, brain doesn't find consistency, and you might confuse the brain, human brain, and like when there's confusion, you just want to leave. And then also the speed of the landing page, right? Like the speed of loading. I think Beehiiv is amazing, super fast. So if you're using anything with Beehiiv, then just use Beehiiv, or you just make your landing page load super fast. Because people are not waiting 5 seconds to subscribe to your newsletter, unless it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. One thing, guys, is I've included the newsletter. So this is not an actual newsletter. It's just pretty much a Beehiiv landing page, but subscribe to this newsletter if you want me to roast your landing page. I'll do 10 roasts, 10 one-on-one roasts to whoever subscribes first, or I'll just randomly pick all of those after the call, and I'll email you all. And it's newsletter.roast.beehiiv.com/subscribe.
Incredible. Thank you so much, everybody. Make sure you go do that. The link is in the chat if you haven't seen it. Andy, thank you so much for putting on such a masterclass today and being so generous with your time and sharing it with everybody who was able to join today. Where can people find you on socials if they want to follow your thoughts?
Yeah. All right. So we have Twitter here. So Twitter, let's see. You guys can see my screen, right? So Twitter, Andy Austin ads, or Andy Austin. You can just look it up. Sometimes you can find me by typing Facebook ads in the search. And LinkedIn, it's the same thing. So Andy Austin on LinkedIn, just check it out. And I share a lot of content. And also YouTube. There's longer form content. So you guys gonna see my recommendations here. Some girls. Yeah. So Andy Austin ads. It's pretty much where you can find me. Yeah, there's
amazing.
Some newsletter videos.
We'll make sure to include your links in the recap when we post this on the blog. Otherwise, thank you so much. We really appreciate also not just Andy, but Tony, who's been here. He's our eyes in the sky in the background. He's our producer, making sure everything goes smoothly. So quick round of applause for Tony. Otherwise, if this was useful, really recommend beyond joining more of these webinars. We have a paid community through your Beehiiv membership. If you are a paying member of Beehiiv, through Slack, we have 3,500 plus active publishing Beehiiv users, super serious about their newsletters. They're the ones who are like asking questions all day long, really up-leveling. It's one of the most talent-dense, knowledge-dense places to be. If you are serious about taking your newsletter to the next level, maybe you're on the fence about that upgrade to a paid plan, this by itself makes it worth it. There's plenty of these groups out there that will charge way more than what it costs just to even get access to the platform just for the community. There's dozens, if not hundreds of messages every day. We have threads for things like monetization, growth, design, email 101, deliverability. You can connect with members of the team, I think, probably with people like Andy. I don't know for sure if he's in the Hive, but generally our guests
I'm in there. Yes.
Yeah, he's in there. Everyone who's anyone is there. So if you are a paying member of beehiiv, when you upgrade, you'll get an email with a link, an invite. If you are a paying member and you misplace that invite and you'd like to get access, just send me an email at ej@beehiiv.com and I'll forward that to our community manager. Otherwise, it's an incredible place to build your newsletter. Again, if you're on the fence, it can really make the difference in your success. I've never seen so much like generosity and just like reciprocity and just like good, positive
Awesome
energy within a community.
Really love that one. Yeah.
So, and that's on top of everything else you get. It's not an upsell. It's not an add-on. It's part of one of the perks of joining the beehiiv platform. So just like everything we do, we just pack so much value into just one monthly cost, every feature we're releasing and so forth. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is why we do this. Without you showing up today, we'd just be talking to an empty room and that wouldn't be very fun. Really thank you so much for the lively, thoughtful questions in the chat and all the engagement. We're always happy to connect on socials. We're at beehiiv pretty much everywhere. I'm personally EJ_beehiiv, and you can find the rest of the team. We're all affiliated with the X account, or if you look at beehiiv on LinkedIn and you look to see the connected people and whatnot, please connect with us. We have built this platform by taking feedback from users just like you on how to make things easier, how to make things more powerful, the features you want. It's really what drives us and powers us, and is really one of the key differentiators of how we've built such a dynamic, fast-growing, innovative company. We take that feedback very close to heart. So, Austin, one final thank you. Appreciate your time. Look to having you back again sometime soon. We're always doing these webinars. We typically do 3 to 5 a week, so maybe we can schedule another one for later in the spring. If you want to, for the audience, if you're interested in the recording and materials, keep an eye out. We will be deploying that through the link that Tony shared at the beginning of the call. It's on our blog. If you click the webinars content tag or you search through the categories, if you click on webinars, either way will get you there. That's where we release them, and you'll receive an email with a link to that archive in the follow-up email as well that you'll get in about an hour. But yeah, with that being said, thank you so much. Have a great Thursday, everyone. Be safe. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys.